I think if you were to ask Alessander, who survived his ordeal.
We need to
What
confirm
happened?
that. We need to confirm that you survived the ordeal.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I think if you were to ask him what happened on his path, he would just say, "I won."
Nice.
I'm sad.
No clarification, just I won.
I would only have wanted one additional thing to be in there, and it's when you were helping Axios with his prophetic ritual.
I could say that out of character. That's for us as players.
That's okay.
So
treat for us.
a little treat for being such good listeners. So before the several expeditionary forces left the Heliconian camp to sort of converge towards the center of this island that was constantly shifting, Alessander helped Axios with a ritual, because Axios is from the island of Styrapos, which is notorious for its oracles. These oracles being the reason that our common tongue is even in this world. Only Heliconians from Styrapos can speak this language, are familiar with it. The ritual involved Axios stripping nude and chanting, and Alessander helped by, at Axios' behest, pouring this olive oil concoction over Axios' head. And Alessander did ask, when he was being told what to do, he did ask, do I have to rub it in?
I mean, that's a valid question. That might have been important.
If you guys have read any
Let's
Greek
massage the
epic, you know how much olive oil free battle rituals are. If you've ever read any of them properly,
You would also know how much homoeroticism is in.
Huh?
Oh,
What?
huh?
I don't ever hear about
Back
that.
then it was just
Oh
eroticism.
no.
You want to know the weird thing?
All I'm saying is that Alessander's path awoken more than a few things in him.
I'm sorry, Giselle. We broke it up.
Oh my god, that's great.
All I'm saying is Kasai's probably the closest to coolest he is of a Spartan warrior in the set.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just discover some kinks.
I'm just saying.
One wild
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I swear to God, this popped up at work as a conversation, this week.
What, Greek homoeroticism?
Yes, and the oil thing specifically.
Oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
olive oil is seen as semi-divine, so.
Really? I mean, sure.
I mean, if you ask the
Olives.
Romans, it was
All those came from Athena.
Oh,
That's the mythological origin of it.
I can see the
Oh,
connection.
there you go.
It was a competition between Athena and Poseidon about who would be the patron deity of Delphi, somewhere like that. And then it's Poseidon made a really cool display and showing and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what he made. It wasn't horses, but then Athena made olives. And it's this thing has so many different uses. You can use its branches, you can use its leaves, you can use its olives, you can make oil out of it, and everyone is like, yo, that's pretty fucking cap though, compared to
Hey,
Poseidon god.
Athena.
Yeah, so they picked Athena. Oh no, what am I saying? It was for Athens. Of course it was for Athens. I'm stupid. Yeah, that's where Athens got its name from. That's why they Athens as opposed to Posen or something. I don't know.
Okay, Athens sounds better than Posen.
Yo, we're going on vacation, Posens.
It sounds like the New Jersey equivalency in fucking Rome or Greece.
It sounds lewd in a certain way.
No, that's just Pompeii.
So I'm going to Posens. And I'm going to go Pompeii afterward.
Anyhow,
I'm a Pompeii revisit. Anyways.
according to the Romans, it was only quote unquote gay if you were receiving, but if you were the top, that was not gay.
Right, because you're
you're the pitcher, not the catcher.
Oh yeah, prison rules.
Yeah.
Got submissive and
Exactly. The act of penetration was a male act, so it didn't matter who was on the receiving.
Oh right, but it
Damn.
was only gay if you were the catcher. Gotcha.
It's only gay if you weren't
This is-
bros.
Yeah.
Bros can play each other
It's
all
your
day.
homies. Yep.
Hey, if Kasai's alive, no, never mind.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Oh
Don't worry
no.
about it.
I feel like
Oh,
there's
no.
a Centauri comic for this.
Huh? What? No, that's
It's
impossible.
crazy.
Centauri is so like,
Innocent
Pure.
and pure.
yeah, she would never do that. Which let it be known, the Centauri, like the Centurion, actually is supposedly like, according to Centauri-chan herself, like, is based off of her. Like, it's not like an OC, it's her. It's actually
It's
again,
just
it's like,
herself.
like, so it's like she's like actually like blonde. Yeah, it's like a self-insert. And I'm just like, yo, Centauri-chan, you know, how you look in real life though? Like, you know.
Oh my god.
That's the name. That's her name on Twitter, Centauri-chan. That's Centurion, Centauri-chan. Yeah, so I'm just like, hey, yo,
God.
what you look like in real life, girl. Anyways, so Anushka is alive? Question mark.
Yeah, shoulder
Alexander is
Anushka.
alive? Check mark.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Who's next?
If we're gonna go backwards, it would be me. I'm next. So I wrote this out because I was worried. Where the fuck is it? I was worried about forgetting. It took me almost 2 hours to write it out. It will not take me that long to read it, obviously, but I'm just gonna read what I wrote. I will say there's a couple of things that like sounded familiar, or I guess similar, from hearing your guys' paths. Specifically yours, Kirsty.
Oh well. You do
So
a
Silas's
Like
path
risky people.
starts
That's crazy.
in an open
Wild.
plain. The greenery that you'd expect is charred, and the whole place is a wasteland. There's a dry feeling to the air and an odd scent to it, too. The world seems pointedly missing a vibrancy of life. There's no sun in the sky, though it isn't terribly dark out. It's unbearably hot, though. There are ruins as well as smoke columns in the distance. Heading to some ruins in the path of heading towards the smoke column, Silas comes across a building that, in its prime, seemed to have multiple levels. There's really nothing to find in here, as Silas looks for any intact furniture, signs of life, among other things. They suddenly, and rather rudely, get bludgeoned in the back of the head by someone or something unseen. For the next while, they're coming in and out of consciousness, coming into consciousness for mere seconds at a time. They feel themselves being dragged, hear voices that they don't quite understand. But eventually, they fully come to, finding themselves in a cage, just big enough to house them, and in a row of 4 other cages. They're not attached in any means. First and foremost, they take note that they are thankfully clothed. They do not have any of their equipment, though. They also notice that they can't tell how much time has passed since they were out, as the sky looks the same it did when they got bonked. Looking down the line, they're at one end of the row. Next to them, an unconscious man with red hair and blood on his head. The next houses a child they determined to be around, I believe it was 7 years old. That's what I have written, at least.
Yeah.
The third cage is a woman, either in a state of shock or eerily calm, as she's just sitting there, and I believe it was the last cage on the end was empty.
Correct.
Out of game, I made out of the story, I made a con save that I used a birthday tome on. Silas pushes through the oppressive heat and continues to take stock of their surroundings. There's a fire. You said it was about 20 feet away. They appear to be in some kind of camp, and walking around are a number of humanoid figures in very cumbersome leathers. Their suits seem to be a closed system, though. They are very crudely made. They also have some masks and or rebreathers, as Silas can hear them breathing. Looking around for Silas's own equipment, they notice a large beast on the opposite side of the camp. The creature is a pack beast of some kind with 6 legs, the neck of a horse, but the general build of a hippo, I believe. It also has some humps like a camel, which I mentioned later. There's a saddle fixed to it with storage essentially holding an arsenal, including my shit! The equipment around my own looks muted in color, though, compared to mine. Much closer to the cages is a guard sharpening some kind of curved blade. He notices I'm awake and sheathes his blade. He comes closer, making quite a bit of noise as he does, and says something in a punchy, crude language that Silas can't understand. Hitting the cage in annoyance and then walking away. Though before he does, Silas gets a look into the lenses of his mask and can see that the man is pale and tarnished. His skin is wrinkly and his eyes almost look half blind, as they're very cloudy. After the man is returned to his post, Silas catches the attention of the child, who this whole time has been doing her very best not to cry. Unfortunately, Silas's attempts to catch the child's attention also catches the guard's attention, and he shouts something, and the child just crumples in response.
Oh.
I made a note in my notes here that I got a 25 perception, so I thought I'd share. The woman at the end of the inhabited cages hears me speaking and turns her ear towards me a bit, but is otherwise unmoving and silent. Let it be known, they couldn't understand me either. And I believe it was with that same lovely perception roll, I caught that the language that they speak is very guttural. It's kind of located in their throat and the back of their nose. And despite, or perhaps as a result of the hot, dry environment, the way they speak seems forced, grating, and painful. Finally, the other captives seem to be going down a similar path as their captor, appearance-wise, as the woman and child are looking better than the unconscious man next to me. They still have some kind of complexion, but they're all very pale.
They're Germans.
I mean, if we wanted to take like Wolfenstein, like Nazi Germans in like gas mask gear as like skin complexion, yeah, you're not terribly off.
There you go. They're Germans. Looking out at the other guards patrolling the place, some seem to be ill-fitted for their armor, while others have no problems filling out their armor. There are no other beasts in the camp, and the camp itself is made out of teepees that are like different patchwork of different leathers and such. Being the little shit they are, Silas uses vicious mockery to damage the guard and gets splashed with acid in response. And then the woman starts actually paying attention. Hi, Twitch. Thanks for joining me. Also, deeper in the camp, the people occupying it start to gather. It seems like mealtime. They're all kind of going towards the fire in the middle. I believe I could smell that they were cooking, too.
Yeah, you smelled some meat.
Some
meat on the bobby. Totally normal meat.
Yum. My notes get a bit sparse, but I know at some point I summoned the copycat, and I tried to navigate over to the pack beast with it, but the teepees were both a help and a hinder in this endeavor, as I can't see through teepee, and I can't see through the copycat's eyes and ears as much as I tried. That being said,
That was a valiant effort.
It gets spotted, so it dies pretty quick. They have guns. That's fun. Seth does, at that point, or I guess right after that, does spot a figure that is hiding by a teepee nearby, and seems to be in a closed system suit as well, though it's different colored, and I believe it was also made out of leather.
All their suits are made out of leather. Yeah.
Okay. He makes the hush gesture at me, and Silas dutifully remains silent. The guard, I don't remember if he left to check out the commotion, or if he just left to get what he comes back with, which is a spear, but that's kind of like a nice... That's a nice way to say it.
It's a survival spear, aka a knife tied to the end of a stick.
It's a knife and a stick. And I get poked. Yeah, I get poked with a spear by guard guy. Though eventually I convince him not to stab me to death because he was gonna do that.
I should have had you roll for like tetanus or lockjaw or something like that. That probably would have been really fitting for the scenario, if I'm being honest.
Oh, that would have been nasty.
Didn't think about it at the time, but maybe next time. When you go back there, right? When you're stuck here, right?
Next thing I know, the woman in the far cage is gone. I think I just did a general perception check and saw that she is in fact gone. Her cage door is ajar, but not fully swung open. It's about an inch from being closed, I believe you said.
Yeah, so it looks almost closed to like most people passing by from a distance.
Mm-hmm. Seems that this wasn't the camp's doing, or it wasn't anyone that the guard knows at least, because when the guard does notice that she's gone, he goes to shout. he freaks out for a second, about to shout, when from behind the guard, the very same woman as before appears and slits his throat.
He got bolused first.
Did he?
Yeah.
Bolused again?
A bolus is a type of restrictive quote-unquote weapon. It's 3 ropes tied together with rocks or other heavy objects at the end of them. So,
he
sort of like a
gets whipped,
snare.
and then
Yeah.
Oh,
well, the thing,
oh,
the
right,
reason
yeah, no, it
that's the
goes
reason
around
he
his
didn't shout.
throat.
Exactly.
It goes
That's the
around
reason why
his
he didn't
throat
shout
and
because
pulls
it
it
smashed
taut.
his windpipe.
That's right. Then his throat gets slit. She moves silently as she comes and unlocks Silas's cage and then the child's cage. And the man that was hiding before is also here. He's the one who bulls the guy, right?
Yeah, correct. The one dressed in black and red.
Cool. I don't know if I marked this anywhere else, but at one point, she gives Silas the dagger, which comes in handy. It becomes very obvious very quickly that Silas doesn't speak the same language as them all, and despite having the spell Tongue, Silas can't cast as they don't have an instrument nor the material components required. I don't mark this until later, but I did try. I did try.
There was a
with
world
dirt.
in which there happened to be clay underneath you that you could have cast right then and there.
It was
There-
not this one.
It was not this world. No, not this time. I'm sorry. Maybe a different one.
Maybe another time. So that didn't
Sure.
work, but hey, I tried. They try to communicate that they really need their gear, even going as far as displaying a small image of their instruments, using, I think it was prestidigitation, in the palm of my hand to the woman and the geared up man, but they insist we leave by shaking their heads. It was a bunch of like, I need this, and they're like, The woman hands Silas the dagger, oh there we go, and we sneak out of the camp. Traveling for hours, we snuck out just fine, I believe. Right?
Yeah. Well, they noticed that there's like people missing, so that.
But yeah, eventually, they
yeah.
Traveling for hours, the woman donned the armor of the dead guard. I think that was before we left, but Silas gains a degree of exhaustion because of the heat, which is why everyone else seems to have a closed system suit. The poor child also has a degree of exhaustion, though I'm sure no one's surprised.
7-year-old child in a radiated wasteland gets exhaustion. What?
What? Huh? We arrive at another ruins of some kind, and I'll be honest, this part, I was just thinking of what to do next, so I actually didn't hear what the description of the outside of the place was like, but it's not too important, I don't think, because we're led into it via a tunnel, a secret tunnel, and we had to crawl through it. The woman and the man seem much more accustomed to it. Me and the kid got some scratches and such from going through, but that's neither here nor there. Crawling through, we come to a much less oppressive atmosphere. I believe it was essentially like having a closed system, as we weren't going to gain any degrees of exhaustion in there.
It's just a place of like shelter and shade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. I didn't bring it up at the time, but if you're alive at the end of all this, yeah, Silas probably has a much deeper understanding of when Sajar, if he's alive, I guess even if he's dead, when he says like, shade and shelter and cool respite, yeah, you have a much deeper understanding of what he means by that now. And that has double meaning behind it. We'll cover that at the end of all this, because there is something special for 3 of you that I think I might have told you guys, a couple of you guys already, but we'll see. But yeah, keep going.
All right. There is a crack in the floor, and in it a flask, I believe it was just on a rope, is lowered, and it gathers some dirty water, but it is water nonetheless. Water is water, and we all drink. Eventually, the men and the women start discussing something. I believe you described it as almost arguing, but without any heat to their words.
Pointed discussion. There
you go. Eventually, the child comes over to Silas, and I believe dumps some water in the dirt to make mud. She writes out something in a language Silas can't understand or read, but she says Temska and points at herself. Which turns out to be her name, and she points to herself and says it. Silas repeats her name and in turn writes out and says their own, pointing at themselves. She then repeats Silas's. Silas gets an idea and begins to dig. I believe it was rather like quickly, like, oh shit, hold on. Eventually the child helps out. Because in order to cast tongues, they need a clay model of a ziggurat, which I believe that's what it's called. They had tried this before with dirt, but to no avail. Luckily, with Temska's help, they find clay and immediately set to work making a small ziggurat. The man and the woman come over just in time, a little confused as to what the fuck are these two doing, for Silas to cast tongues. Now, there's a lot of confusion, and introductions are made, but essentially, the people who kidnapped Silas are a group that I don't remember the name of. Crash, please.
I don't.
I
They didn't have a group name.
didn't they? I thought they called him like. For some reason, I thought it had a letter B in it. Is there no name for that group?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
They call themselves like rangers and stuff like that, but that's not a group, more than like an occupation, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
I thought I said something about like tribes or something. Oh, maybe it was because there was
Oh,
a force that was
no,
not nearby
they
that they were talking about.
yeah, they were talking the Black Blades are the
Ah.
ones that kidnapped you. That's them.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were talking
Blade.
about the two of them. I was like, I don't think so. They technically do belong to the same faction, but they're not tribe. Well,
Black Blades.
yeah, the
There you
Black
go.
Blades are the ones that kidnapped you.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the people who kidnapped Silas are a group called the Black Blades, who happen to kidnap, kill, eat, and make leather out of people. Isn't that fun?
All that leather.
Yeah.
The woman's name is Mirelsa, and the man's name is Leohart.
Really gives you a second meaning to your second. This suit is my second skin.
which Silas found out by saying, "Why are you so disgusted on putting on the skin? Like, I know like they're brutes and all, and they're like, it's made out of human skin. It's a little weird."
It's a little weird.
Just a little bit. Silas insists on how important their gear is to them, and that, well, technically, no, I'm not a witch, because I think it was Leohart that said, "So you're a witch."
Yeah.
After I said I cast a spell.
Yeah.
I'm a bard, and they need their instruments to cast most of their spells. It seems the concept of music and bards are completely foreign to this place, as
There's literally no translation for it. With tongues, they didn't translate that, so the concept is actually not existent. So that's fun. What is music?
Muzak. I believe you.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did say that's right. Leonhard did say Musak.
Leohart makes it clear how stupid an idea it is to go back, and how he disapproves and won't be aiding us if we go, us being Mirelsa and I. So we head out as soon as we can, and I believe we had a little bit of a plan. We sneak out way to the back of their camp. I believe we came right from the other opposite side. As there's a hill there, the only hill. It's like a little hill. I don't know how big it was, but it's one of the only places you can actually hide. As the whole place really is just like a plateau, like a valley, like a plain.
To use terms from the amazing H.P. Lovecraft, blasted heath.
Ooh, I feel like you said that. I just
Probably.
didn't write it down. There's a need for speed, as the group that captured us is a mobile one, and while they aren't necessarily speedy, there's no guarantee how long they'll stay in one spot, especially with some escaped prisoners and dead guards. Having a degree of exhaustion isn't very conducive to being sneaky, so we're spotted pretty quickly. Luckily, we approached the camp sneakily enough in the first place, so we didn't get shot at from a good distance away. Speaking of, they have guns, and it's very bad if you get hit. A lot of combat happens in this section, but to summarize it, we split up. I go up, she goes down, if you're looking top down at the map. Silas gets awfully close to death a number of times. Using the copycat and their feline agility to maneuver around, they end up getting on top of the beast, the pack beast, which was moved closer to the campfire. I believe at one point I had like 6 people behind me and 3 in front of me.
Yeah, something like that.
Convincing it to get a move on, it starts running out of the camp. It's not the fastest, but it seems rather happy to run free. Silas starts breaking into the storage on the saddle. This beast also has humps like a camel, and whilst getting their stuff, they cast tongues once more, and make a deal with some of the guards that stand at the edge of the camp, holding the unconscious body of Mirelsa. Which is why they didn't just run away in the first place. They're told to turn the beast back around, which took a bit of convincing, but it happened.
Yeah, you're able to talk with the pack beast at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. A deal is made where Silas is to leave the beast and will take Mirelsa. The saddest part is this beast can talk. It's not the same language as the people here, but Silas can understand it as the tongue applies to it. The poor thing begs not to be brought back to camp, and Silas apologizes and promises to return for it. My heart was aching at that point. The poor thing.
Yeah, this thing's a mix of like, imagine it had 6 legs. Its exterior is more akin of that of a hippo, but its dimensions, despite being immensely large, right, the size of like a shed, is semi-equivalent to like a horse or a camel or a giraffe because its neck is really long.
Mm-hmm.
It also had a big mouth, just like a hippo. A big mouth.
Big mouth. Unfortunately, Silas's, trusting nature bites them in the ass as soon as they get far enough away from the beast, the guards immediately shoot at them. Should have seen that coming. I didn't. That's both on me and Silas's trusting nature.
I was smiling in a sad way when that happened. I was just like, you trusted the abductors that are cannibals and skin people.
So they shoot you.
I thought they were desperate.
They literally gunned Silas down. Literally gunned Silas down.
I forgot they had guns. Okay. That being said,
oh hey, that's not too. It's missing the requisite amount of legs, but it's not too dissimilar.
Ooh, oh my,
it's pretty good. I like that.
Nice. It those guns, take them to 0 pretty quick.
When 6 people shoot at you
with like really strong guns, and you
what
like
might say it's like an execution firing squad. Yeah, so yeah, you get brought down to 0. That sort of sucks.
I get brought
describe
down
your death.
to 0. They roll a death save. I got a 12. They roll another death save.
You recorded it? Yeah, you were dead.
I actually went back and looked when I was writing it down. They roll another death save, but while fading in and out of consciousness, they feel the pack beast come up and push at their limp body gently, quietly saying, "No." It was a rather slow-speaking beast, and it made me sad.
Get up. Get up.
They hear one of the guards coming up, laughing at them, saying something or other about turning them into boots.
I mean, I'm just saying, you're like the only furred creature in the for like 100 miles of here. That's all I'm saying.
And he like
Boots
pets
with the
Silas,
fur.
which is weird because he's not even doing it with his bare hand. He's just doing it to be a creep
He's just feeling out the material.
that he can't feel because he has gloves on. But they're
Maybe when you
fading-
have your second skin.
Oh God. They they're fading in and out at this point, and they've got a couple words to say, not to the guard. They have a couple words for him too, but they whisper to the beast. They say, "Pick me up and run. We won't be coming back." As I roll a nat fucking 20 on my final death save.
That makes 2 now by
Yeah.
our testament so far about how close people were to living out
That'd
a
be
Freddie
satisfying.
Mercury song of Another One Bites the Dust.
Crash, my nat 20 athletics from throwing that spear could be considered Axios' death save.
I would agree with that 100% because I forgot to say this. Well, I guess I didn't need to say it, but I'll say it now. Yeah, there were entrapments for your guys' aspirant paths, right? A easy way out, which would condemn you to failing your aspirant path, right? So, for example, if Alec decided to take an easier victory and just try to leave as Alessander, he would fail his aspirant path at the last stretch, right? You would have a swallowed Pyrrhic victory, a pathetic one, which means you did not succeed your aspirant path, which means you would have failed. So let that be known, right? Like, there were a lot of ways you could have failed without dropping to 0 HP. Weakness disgusts of me. That's
Hey, buddy, you weren't here for my fucking oral rendition of the goddamn Greek hero story I went through. You don't get to judge me, okay? I threw one spear, but I went through ancient Greece with a goddamn gun. You weren't there. I was. Shut up.
He showed up with the glinting.
Oh my God.
You did double like crit the Titan's eye and shattered it.
Ooh.
So
With a gun.
yeah. That Titan, I think it did 10d6 plus 50 damage. So if he didn't have evasion, the failed saves alone might have iced him.
Oh my god.
That's crazy, man. That's wild.
Odysseus wished whatever. He had a 6-shooter.
Anyways,
He would have been back to
we're-
Ithaca in fucking 5 days. Anyway.
The story doesn't end here. I roll an at 20 on my final death save. The other one was a 10. So I got a 12, a 10, and a 20, which was banger, because at that point, it was that or death, really. The beast, my beloved beast, picks up Silas by their clothing and runs towards the camp, like full kilter. I thought you said it was going a lot faster.
Not towards the camp, not towards the camp. No, because you guys were outside of the camp by that point, right?
Yeah.
So here, I'll just read it.
It was going towards the guards, though, wasn't it?
It was going towards the guards, right? So
Okay.
Because the camp, if the camp is like this, you guys are here and here, right? Because
Right.
Melissa never made it into the camp.
Yeah.
Which
I went this way.
Yeah, so you guys end up doing this. With the beast, you'd end up doing this. Leaving the camp's direction.
Oh, right, because it never changes course, but it goes the kind of
Exactly.
sort of the right way.
Yep.
That a little bit of a spoiler. It runs through the guards. Let's see here. Yeah, and since I'm hanging out of its mouth at this point, because I told it to pick me up and like put me in its mouth.
Mouth me.
No. And,
Nah.
Give him the lip, boss.
Stop him off. He runs towards the guards, and Silas manages to pick up Muralsa using the coiling grasp tattoo, without doing any damage, which was nice. The beast tosses us up and catches us in its mouth, and we start the long trek back. I believe I don't remember if she just came to consciousness or started healing or what, but
You healed her.
she gets up, potions and all that jazz. We make it back safe and sound.
It's a good thing to have your inventory, isn't it?
It's a blessing. The moment I got my gear, I was like, okay, I can like breathe a little bit.
We'll come back to this narrative in 2 stories and 1 story from now.
Oh no. We basically we get back, and I'm pretty sure Leohart was like so fucking hidden in the ground.
He did the Watch Dogs PvP stealth approach where he was just like, imagine a circle, you're on the bottom of the circle, he's on the top of the circle, so therefore there's no chance you can see him because there's a hill in your way. The only hill.
So he pops out eventually, and he I don't remember the exact words, but basically he said that while he admits he really does not enjoy being wrong, he's happy that he was wrong just this once. And that we made it back. Temska comes out, and she names the beast. She names him Gopher. And in their language, it was, I have it here, it's Pierstiver. But basically, we say our goodbyes, and as a parting gift, Temska gives Silas a tile that on the back has like some mud clay kind of thing mixture on it that's hardening slowly, and there's a paw print with Silas's name in the middle and everyone else's name around it.
Aww.
So that was really cute. Silas, before they left their pan flute with Temska and told her that it won't be easy, but that she could figure it out if she tried hard enough. And got like pretty good rolls for making a note, considering like music doesn't exactly exist in this world right now.
And music, you mean exposing my weakness in position? Yeah, sure.
But that was it. Silas lived.
You lived. You lived.
Live.
You lived.